I'm Rob.
I'm E.
I'm Max, child actor.
Welcome to the next movement.
Tumble out the ether, my blank verse, wild jungle out the speaker, rare earths. Every rabbi wonder will his golem work. Every golem wonder if they was the first. Lurch, curse, shots was close together like the gun burns. Optimistic as a prostitute's wish list. The kids are alright, what he told the missus. Baby in the reeds, keep her from the Egyptians. If she never has a seed, they gon' be suspicious. Rumors, wishes, men blow purse lip, rape kisses. Turn and spit, note the sun distance. Won't be long now if they come and come get it. If you come and come get it. Eve had a sister who knows what he did with her. Big picture, frame was 5 figures, soul suspended in silver. Invoice A Victor, A nigga. I was given this world, I didn't make it. This a crazy place. Baby face with the shine of the magic charm bracelet. Pacing upstate bus station. Baby fat, but his babies the wolves take it.
Max, thanks so much for joining us, for sitting down with us. Appreciate your time today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We, like many others, have become fans of your music, of your production, and so fully intend to talk with you tonight about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Child Actor is a duo, of course, and you've been making music as a part of Child Actor for seems like a good 10 years or so.
Yeah. It you know, like the planning stages started a little before then and stuff was recorded, but yeah, I think that's probably our earliest release. Yeah, and back then that it actually started with my cousin, Seji Ogilvy, but eventually she sort of bowed out and decided she didn't want a music career. So then Natalie came in, Natalie Plaza. She's still here. And yeah, I've gone through definitely a lot of different sounds, I would say, since then. But yeah, I'm glad you guys have been listening. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Could you tell us a little bit about how you got started making beats, producing, collaborating with hip hop artists specifically?
So for that, got to go back even further. I started making beats actually with my other cousin, Ben Ogilvy, Seji's brother. I mean, we started back in, when we were making basically embarrassing sounding music regularly. Like we just figured stuff out. Just like I actually started out as a songwriter and playing piano, and also as a jazz pianist. But at a certain point, I just was like, oh, I kind of want to do electronic music, and like being really into like Aphex Twin and stuff, and thinking like, oh man, I would love to get a sampler, and just the idea of like being able to sample something was so appealing to me pretty early on. And then so I did that, made some electronic stuff, and you got to like throw some drums in there and every now and then, of course. But around then, when I was like, teenage years, my cousin, who's younger than me, was Ben. We kind of got into hip hop at the same time. I think we both linked at around the moment that like Mad Villain came out, and that was just like one of those, that must have birthed so many producers, and so we're both kind of into that at the same time. He was a drummer, and we're like, hey, we would sort of record silly music together sometimes, but then we came up with the idea of like, oh, what if we became like a hip hop production duo? And it started out very humbly, where I would actually play a real piano and like, make like piano parts up, while he would then either play live drums and like sample them, or we'd also like sample and like re-loop the piano stuff I played, or like find some classic breaks, or just sample packs, just learning how to do that stuff. And we it kind of got semi-serious to the point where we were like selling beats somewhat. That was called Ghost Notes, that project. And around then I had like a summer job too, where I worked at a radio station, and there's a huge morning rush, but then I would spend the afternoons that were super slow just on this ancient website called MySpace. And you could go on there and just find people, and you could see like who they want to affiliate themselves with. So anyone who had like rappers I liked in their top 8, I was like, all right, I'm going to hit you up, see if you want to collab. The cliche want to collab thing. But some people were up for it. So to the point where we actually got to collaborate with like a bunch of our Stones Throw heroes, like MED, Wild Child, and Oh No. And even there's an early unreleased track with Open Mike Eagle.
Wow.
He was one of the people that I cold messaged on MySpace, and we did a track together.
Wow.
And it never got released because I was, if you listen to a lot of like, Madlib and Dilla, they're always talking about you got to get paid all the time, no free beats. And I was just like, God, at least give me $50. And like, I should have done it for free. I was like, who am I? And so it's just really amazing that we ended up like reconnecting several times and are actually legit working together now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it just, that project, Ghost Notes, just kind of hit a wall. Eventually I started to do drums myself too. And I really was just like, I never got past the point of trying to imitate or emulate my heroes. And it just like, I kept feeling like I was making the same beat over and over again, trying to like discover the secret of how to sound like Madlib or Dilla or something. And like, I sort of did it, but it just never really clicked. And I realized like, I'm liking a lot of this just because I made it. It's not like actually good necessarily. And I felt like when I hit that wall, and a couple projects fell through that I was hoping to do. And I was like, you know what? I just want to take a crazy turn here. And that's kind of when Child Actor started. I want to just like do something and that was more about like fusing the songwriting aspect with the beat making aspect and just trying to, I don't know, almost do like a new genre or something. But yeah, ever since then it's kind of been changing a lot. But then recently I got back into making beats because of a couple of just kind of chance meetings on tours that I was on with Chesky. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but if not, check out Chesky. He's incredible. He's been around for a long time and just an incredible, he can do anything but an amazing rapper. We've been just like, we're basically family at this point. We've been friends for like 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah, like I went to high school with his brother and just we're really close, and we've been a band together a lot. So yeah, we were touring Europe and happened to do a few shows, a little run with Serengeti, and just meeting him was like, we connected for a little while and kind of became friends, and we're like, hey, we should do something. And we made a weird little EP because we bonded on we've both done some work in like music sync and like ad stuff. And I was at that point getting really disillusioned with it, and had like I learned how to do a lot of good stuff, but it was just the cliche situation of like, man, this is like really ruining my creativity and just making me cynical. But I had all these like, hip hop flavored demos that never went anywhere, and I was like, oh, what if we just like found some scraps from that and made something really just off the cuff. So that's why that sounds really, really different from anything I've ever done or he's ever done, I think. But then after that next tour with Chesky, I met Woods.
Okay.
Billy Woods, and that was crazy. That like we did at least I think 6 shows with him, and I have to say, after having done lots and lots of shows over the years, it's like I start to get a little jaded about openers, and like, you might not necessarily check them out or like listen that closely, or I'm just ready to be like hearing the same, hate to be a downer like that, but sometimes that's how it gets on the road there. But I will say that Woods was like, wait, this is not typical in any way. Like he really caught my attention. And then to hear the same set every night, well, it wasn't like the same set, he would do different sets, but like started to hear some of the same songs and like to really get to know him, and it's like getting deeper every time, like just, this is a serious crazy writer, like an artist like I have never encountered. And we also happened to share this long ass car ride. I don't even remember what it was. It was at least 6 hours from like Minneapolis to Chicago or something. It was some super long drive. and he just was telling the craziest stories I've ever heard. And I had just met him, and like, it's like, you're gonna tell me this story? And like, maybe because of that, it's like we've just, I don't know, had some kind of bond there. It's like, but at the end of the tour, I just was like, hey, can I send you a beat? I hadn't made a hip hop beat in like 9 years at this point.
Wow.
Which is like a straight up hip hop beat where I'm like, oh, someone should rap on this. Like, I've definitely always, everything I've done has been hip hop influenced, I think, but just to like make rap beats wasn't like on my radar. But hadn't released an album in a while at that point. I was like at a creative crossroads, you could say. And so I went home and I made a beat thinking of him and sent it to him. And non-producers out there might not know how silly or ridiculous that is, but like to just send one beat to someone is so unrealistic. But he used the beat. It's like crazy. I sent him one beat. Not only did he use the beat, he was like, you know what? The album is done, but I'm going to add this in.
Wow.
Which was just wild. And he finished it pretty fast and got fielded to sing on it. And that became Shepard's Tone on Terror Management. And it was just so instant gratification. I mean, I love, this happened a couple times, getting in at the very tail end of an album, because then the album comes out like not 2 years later. Like you can just be like, oh, I'm still excited about this. So that came out pretty fast after we did it. And it was just like a real thrill. Like, it was on two levels. I felt like we had done I had suddenly actually contributed to a great song. But I also felt just like, no, I'm not going to say like he was doing it out of charity, and he hadn't crazy blown up yet at that point. Now he's huge, but like at that point, you know, I still think probably, I can only imagine how many beats he gets even then. Right. So for him to choose this beat felt to me, as I know he would never choose a beat that he doesn't like, of course, but I did feel like he was trusting in me or something, or like almost like, you know, like, let's see what happens. Let's see what you do if I choose this beat. And or maybe he didn't think of that at all, but I took it that way. I took it like an invitation. So then, yeah, I got very excited, made a few more beats, and I sent him some more. And then next thing I know, they picked the Charms beat for Armand Hammer and made it their single. So like, we can maybe talk later if you want about why that's, how insane a song that is to choose as a single for your album. But yeah, again, hugely inspiring, validating. Even though I had made beats that whole period, you know, from before, I kind of still feel like I was a new artist, like new to making beats, because it was like a very new style for me. And I was still figuring out like my voice at that point. And I think that Charms beat and the way they selected it and what they did with it was a big breakthrough in like figuring out who I was as a producer at that point.
Did you get connected to AKAI Solo through Woods and the Lucid?
Not directly. I just heard him, you know, we were on the album together and on different songs, I think, on Shrines. And I just, you know, at that point, like, I have to admit, from like 2010 to 2019, I was just like, I kind of checked out of listening to hip hop as much as I was before. Like, because of my like own artistic dead end, I think. And so when I came back in, I guess I met Serengeti 2018, whatever. It was like kind of on the cusp of this, what now is a clearly incredibly fruitful scene. But the kind of elements were just coming together at that point, like the navy blue, people are finally, and it's from like way back, messages from way back, you know, people are starting to finally, like, the Rock Marcy influence is starting to really make itself felt. Makami, like all those things suddenly when I get back into it are like bubbling, like Alchemist entering a really new phase of his artistry. And it just feels like, and Mike, I could go on, but like, it just felt like, wow, this is like I worked with Woods just because I liked him and the shows I saw him at. And then I learned like pretty quickly, like actually he's like the linchpin of a whole scene. Like he's holding together so many elements of this, not only just a scene, but like the scene. Like, yeah. And so I was just like quickly catching up to everything that I had been checked out on. And yeah, one of the first people I thought of working with was AKAI. And I also knew how close he was to Woods. And so I just felt like, yeah, let me introduce myself. And so, yeah, and the funny thing is, I sent him a beat pretty soon after Charms, or I sent him a bunch of beats. And then he ended up using one of those, like, just now,
Yeah.
like from like 2 years ago or more, on Body Feeling. But it's a perfect beat for him. I mean, that one was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And it's another one that really, and it's perfect for an EP called Body Feeling, because that one really has some timing aspects that, luckily, that I am happy to see seem to be going unnoticed. Like Charms, it's hard to not notice how the timing is really, not even existent in some ways. Like it's really abstract, but I think the what did it end up being called?
Sun to Moon.
Yeah. I can only remember the beat name, but yeah, Sun to Moon. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people seem to be feeling that and not notice that it's missing some beats here and there. A little infiltration.
Yeah.
Yo, sang Freud through the virus, void leader. I got a different corona in mind. Pick your position like poisonous. Discover your location, is it behind the line? The message gets sent, no sentimentality. Niggas fuck up tens and move in circles like some ace. Yo, you stuck where you at, man, I'm free where you ain't. No cash present in my pocket, but we got crowds to deposit, yo. I exercise restraint practices and I'm not responding to you niggas. Facts, blast in the hall of the hallway. Blast in the bath of the ballroom.
But actually, that beat and Charms are so related. I mean, it really is. It makes so much sense that they were made around the same time, because they were both like trying to make something that isn't relying on being part of the grid, or just the typical idea of like, all right, let's do a snare on 2 and 4, and they're kind of opposite approaches to that. Because Charms, it's like the drums are just like shattered in all directions, and you don't really have much to hold on, but just the feeling. But the Sun to Moon is like the kick and snare are so powerful that they force you to feel the beat, even though it doesn't add up to a typical time signature.
I appreciate the history that you just gave us, the stories that you just shared.
Sure, yeah. You can edit in some like, okay, yeah, go on. I didn't mean to talk that long.
No, it's cool. I mean, those are the kind of stories I think that we're here for. So I'm grateful that you've shared that. Just as a listener, it seems apparent that you have a good working relationship with Woods and with Backwoods in general. And I think it's fair to say that you've played a significant role in sort of shaping the sound that we now know from Backwoods, from an Armand Hammer release, from an Elucid project. You and August Fanon and Messiah Music and maybe a couple others, I think have really shaped that sound. And it sounds like it might just be easy to work with these artists.
Well, first of all, it's incredible to even hear you say that. I mean, it's because I really do feel so honored to work with these people. Like, I just felt like I got this incredible opportunity to just sort of reemerge out of nowhere, and then I'm like only working with legendary, great artists that inspire me and inspire so many people. And yeah, you're right. It is easy. It's weirdly easy, because other than that first beat that I directly made for Woods, I'm just, I maybe someone will be in the back of my mind when I make a beat. And whoever I know or have a relationship with affects maybe what I think is possible. But I'm just making what I feel like making in the moment. It's always very intuitive. And it just, when I send beats to them and they pick them, it's just beautiful, because there's no like, okay, I got to make a Woods type beat now. I got to make an Elucid type beat. It's like, I just wanted to make this beat. here's another one. And yeah, and then they use them and make incredible music with them. I mean, it's just like a perfect fit. For example, working with a Lucid. Well, I guess I'll say it's easy, but at the same time, these are artists that know how important their work is, I think, and they have very high standards for it. So you can never take for granted if they're going to pick something, or just the fact that to have them even listening is a privilege. And it's actually, for a Lucid, I send him a ton of beats. Okay. Tons of packs. I think the first pack I sent maybe didn't even get a response. I don't even know if he heard it. But just, I knew I wanted to work with him. I mean, we had already worked together, for Charms and stuff. I think he, according to lore, he is the one who sort of picked Charms and like sold Woods on it. Woods was like, what? I don't know. So yeah, sent him a bunch of packs, and he would eventually start second pack, then he picked one, but he will roll around those beats. He will return to them. He will listen to them in different ways. He doesn't, from what I know, he's not like just the kind that's like skimming through, like, no, I don't feel this, I feel it. Like he will sometimes just double back to me, months later, and be like, you know what, I re-listened to this pack and I heard, and this one hit me suddenly differently, and I recorded to it. So for him, that process, it just meant that we were kind of both sort of, I don't know, cooking at the same time, and that's why those songs feel so cohesive, because I think we allowed them to develop over the same period of time. And even though they're all from different packs, it's like he picks a beat. I think the first one became Split Tongue, and then it just every selection sort of will put your mind in a new place and open you up to what else could be possible. But yeah, I'm really proud of the work that we did on that album. It's crazy that that I got to have so many on there. It's wild to me.
I don't know if you caught the interview he did with KEXP, but he really talks a lot about your production. Yeah. That's how I found you. I probably had saw your name before, child actor before, but I really dug in after I heard that interview, because he really does talk a lot about just this connection that you are talking about in your relationship and how you work together.
Yeah, that's beautiful to hear. Yeah, I mean, I will say that some people you work with, and it's transactional in a way, where it's like, yeah, like this one, cool. Yeah, we made something dope, great. But even though there's not a lot of words between us about this, or at least about the I Told Bessie stuff, we talked a little bit, mostly in emails. He definitely, like Split Tongue specifically was one where he really inspired it, based on the demo he sent me, and based on just like, it used to be a very stripped down beat of just like just the way it goes for the first 40 seconds, maybe very sparse. It used to only be that the whole time. And he recorded on the demo basically all the same lyrics and pacing and everything. And it was cool. It was like a little corner of the world, like this dusty, interdimensional, laid back vibe. But and he just sort of said one line in the email, like, yeah, I like it, but I think it could use more movement. I just remember him using the word movement. And from that demo and him saying that, it's like that. Just, I guess it's got hit by a bunch of ideas, and then that horn sample just magically appeared, and like that one became so layered. You probably can tell that I don't do a lot of layering, but I sometimes do. But that was one of the few where it's like very sculpted, and it really became a unique piece because of that, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have a couple of questions about I Told Bessie, just because I mean, I'm obsessed with this album. So we actually had a Lucid on the show a few episodes back and went into great detail about this. I wanted to specifically start by asking about Spelling and Old Magic, because he came on and he talked about sort of his perspective creating the lyricism of these songs, right? And so like he talked about the writing process.
I gotta go back, check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And so I wanted to hear about the production side of things. And so I wondered if you could just talk us through the production for Spelling and Old Magic.
Sure. I mean, I honestly can only just be you can tell I'm an analytical guy. I can really just only analyze the beats. I can't tell you about decisions that were made.
Sure.
Split Tongue is like I said, Split Tongue is one of the few songs where it was very like making decisions. But and the reason that I love working with samples is that it's so intuitive, you know, like it's just I don't think very consciously. Like a concept will emerge, maybe an end point, like a goal will happen if I hear a sample. But like the activity is like the decisions are all like subconscious in some way. But I will say for Spelling, it was a bit of an atypical beat for me because I'm usually, at least in that period, trying to be kind of subversive when it comes to drums. But that one has pretty straightforward, just like one shot drums. You feel that snare on the 2 and 4 kicks. You know, I don't usually like to take such a straightforward approach with the drums, and it is pretty minimal still. But I think that actually made it such a beautiful song. Just that one aspect, because like at least for Lucid to choose it, because of it allows him to tap into kind of something that's kind of universal, I think. Because he's an artist that will not only try to blow your mind, but will blow your mind and redefine what you think music is. Whereas Woods, I'm just comparing them because I worked with them both a bunch and they work together a lot. Whereas Woods will kind of always stay grounded in some tradition, I feel. As far as he'll go, he will still like, he still will see himself in this tradition, I think. But Lucid is not afraid to cross into a fully new dimension. And so for him to choose that track, more traditional sounding beat, I think was a beautiful decision. And he wrote such a beautiful song to it. Like, I feel like that, like a lot of people, you don't have to be on board for his mystical approach to music to appreciate that song. And the beat, you can still feel it's like, got this like warped quality to it. But I think as much as any beat I've made has a sort of maybe kind of classic sort of feel to it in the way that it's put together. Now, as for Old Magic, very different approach. And that one, I will say, he originally had selected a different beat for, and this again is about his beat selection process. All of a sudden, just one day out of the blue, he sent me a demo of Old Magic using this beat he had never mentioned to me that he even liked. And it was so crazy to hear that demo for the first time. Wow. Like he just is so vicious on that. It's so nasty. Yeah, and that beat is one of my favorite ways to do it, is just take one layer and chop. And just with the uniqueness of how I decide to chop it, you can make it into something special. Yeah, and that really is more like I'm playing it's like I'm playing the whole band in that, because like it'll go back to being a pianist, and I can just play the samples all the way through. Most of the beats I do, I play all the way through live, and that is no exception. You can probably hear. I mean, you'd have to listen pretty closely, I think, but you can hear where it, it's not on the grid or anything, and it doesn't always loop the same way every time, and there are no loops. It stays fresh. Yeah, nasty song.
An amazing song.
Yeah. I'm wondering specifically about Old Magic. I'm wondering what it was like for you I'm making an assumption here, but as someone who's not Black, to be working integrally. Thank you. On a track that is, clearly intended for Black listeners. I'm wondering what that was like for you.
It's a good question. I would say that it didn't like immediately dawn on me the first time I heard it. First time I heard it is like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right.
But I feel like, why is it that I am able to be part of that experience at all, you know, like why it is something I think about a lot. And you know, producing a song that like I'm not going to sing along to the chorus, you know. Yeah. I think that when they do that in certain locations, they even replace the N-word with other words. So like, I don't know, what can I say? I make the beats, they go somewhere, they make artistic statements. I love so much what he's saying on that song, and it is something we've made together as a collaboration. So yeah, I mean, all I can really say is I just feel so lucky to be a part of it. And it's not really my business to even talk about the lyrics other than just my admiration for them. He's going to say what he's going to say to who he's saying it to. I don't know what else to say about it.
No, I appreciate that. And I respect that. So thank you.
Yeah.
When he was on the show, I told him how I felt about it because it means a lot to me. And I said, I was just like, this is a very Black song for Black people. And he said, and it was made by a white producer, and he kind of laughed. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I got a love for a lot of Black music, you know. And especially just being a jazz pianist, like my teacher was Black, and I just have always, I don't know, it all comes back to, I mean, maybe it could be just jazz, like in the body time of it. That just, I don't know, if I make something that resonates with him and any other artist that I like, it's like just so beautiful to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel bad if I am complicating his narrative in any way.
I didn't take it that way. No, I think he just thought it was ironic.
It is ironic. Definitely.
So you've got several tracks on this new ShrapKnel album, Metal Lung, another solid project all the way around. Well, I wanted to talk about this track with Ethel C., who is kind of a revered artist here in Philadelphia and maybe elsewhere also. And I think my question is really about sort of process in general. But with Ethel C., I wanted to know if you got to interact with her much, or was this a situation where she just sort of sent you her verse and that's that?
I'm going to disappoint you and say that I was not involved in any of that at all. I sent the beat, and then first demo I heard had her on it. Actually, it was there was some kind of technical process with that one where we had to change the order of where the verses were ended. And that was my first experience with like upsetting the technical flow of a project because I don't do things on a grid. Because since we had to sort of rearrange and extend the beat, you know, there are no BPMs to what I do because I'm just like straight through the whole song. I'm live playing it, not to a metronome or anything. So yeah, that was a tough one but we got there. Obviously, it sounds incredible. You would never know.
Yeah.
But the first time I heard it, she was on there and killed it. It's so good.
It feels like you have a very intimate involvement with the production when I listen to some of the tracks that you produce for various artists. But in sounding and hearing you talk about the process, it sounds like that's not always true. And so, you know, you're sending folks beats, and like you said, you know, they choose to use it for whatever they choose to use it for. And you're not necessarily involved in the process, but sometimes you are. So like you're talking about working with the Lucid on Split Tongue. So I wondered if that's if there's been instances outside of that where you were really collaborating in a real-time way with artists that you're working with in terms of passing along feedback back and forth about the direction of a song.
Yeah, I think it just depends on how each artist likes to work. I usually think of the beats sort of as prototypes in a way, because I really like to get the chance to go in there and finish the song. I usually insist upon it, but yeah, sometimes I don't get to do that. And ShrapKnel was one of those cases, just because I think they had a certain way they wanted it mixed or whatever. So. And Willie Green did some incredible stuff on the back end of those. And Willie Green, I will work with any day. I love working with him. He will always he always gets what I'm trying to do. Like, it doesn't have to be explained. I've had, every now and then you'll have an experience where it's like, the mixing engineer didn't really get what the intention was. and some things feel blunted or not as clear or just in a different direction than I wanted them to go. But Willie Green always takes it where it's supposed to go. I mean, and then beyond. He's more than a mixing engineer. Like as a producer, like he will do things to the sound to make it sound great, but he'll also know how to blur the lines and put some compositional ideas of his own in there. So yeah, I don't mind letting him take those to the finish line. But usually my working relationship with an artist will be like, they'll record a demo and then I'll say, hey, can I now sort of tailor the beat in the song to what you did? Because it's fun to throw in little details here and there and really make it, and that's what makes it feel a little more collaborative, not like I just sent you a thing that doesn't respond to what you do. Like, but yeah, it really does depend on the artist. Some artists, it will really evolve and there's a lot of back and forth, but it usually doesn't go that much. It's usually just like they do their demo, I do my arrangement, and then it gets mixed. And that seems to be usually the best results. It feels the most pure there for me. I just love to have each expression be as pure as possible.
I think what I really appreciate, one of the things I really appreciate about your production is this juxtaposition between these beautiful light and melodic sonics that you create and the heavy subject matter that's being addressed sometimes within an artist's lyricism. And so
again, out of my hands, but
yeah,
but I do agree that happens a lot.
Yeah,
it's not just like a coincidence. So there's yeah. Sorry, you're gonna say more stuff in that question. If you
feel free to interrupt me is what I'm trying to say. But no, for me, what I was just gonna say in those instances, it almost feels like your production is helping to carry the hope and the faith that an artist is holding on to while they're trying to process these experiences that they're going through and have gone through. And I wondered if you ever thought about this. It sounds like maybe you have, definitely the juxtaposition, but what about the other part?
Well, you framed that question in a very kind way that I appreciate. Yeah, I have recognized that. I mean, I'll take it back to Charms first, because that one always struck me about how that, like, if you can hear that instrumental, and it, like, I'm one of the only people, one of 3 people in the universe, I think, maybe 4. I think Curly Castro might have heard it, who has heard that beat. Maybe not even him though. I think he was there when they were recording it. Who has heard that beat without it having been rapped on yet. And that's a hard thing to describe because that's such an abstract beat. And then that's another one where I got the demo and man, they tore it apart. If you just hear that beat on its own, it feels there's almost there is a real playfulness to it. And they dug into the positive qualities of it, but they turned with their lyrics, I think they turned to sort of the inherent maybe uplifting, so I can't really find the right words for it, but whatever's there, they turned into something like sublime and like they grabbed at the core of it and pulled it inside out with the way that they rapped on it. Like the amount of energy they brought to that just like floored me. And yeah, I think has Open Mike Eagle's album dropped yet?
Yeah, next week. We're gonna drop it next week.
Oh, well, then it will have dropped, and I can tell listeners that they can listen to. There's a song on there where he is just really uncharacteristically sincere on one of the beats that I did, like to the point where I was like, wow, I just can't believe something I did inspired this level of lyricism and like introspection and like there's punchlines in it and stuff still sort of, but it's like real self-examination and some of my favorite lyrics from him ever. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that does happen. And so okay, wait, 2-part question, right? You were asking about the juxtaposition. What was the other aspect?
For me, whenever I listen to that, it sounds like that's sort of the hope and the faith that the artist is trying to carry with them, despite the heavy things that they're dealing with, those light sounds, it's sort of reflective of real life.
Yeah, I have heard, and in fact, ShrapKnel, I remember they were saying to me that that's why they wanted my beats on their album to have something lighter. They used that word specifically. So, and I think the lightness, at first I thought that that's like a bit of a weak word to use, but I like it in the sense of it being like untethered. Maybe that's what it relates to. Because again, we're not on a grid. And so maybe it opens more possibilities, and certainly different types of pockets. That's what I like to, that's one thing that is so fun and fulfilling for me to provide, is usually a very unusual kind of pocket. Even in a seemingly straightforward beat, it's not your typical pocket. And that's also fun for me because I don't know how someone's going to take it.
Yeah.
Because there's ambiguity there. So yeah, that I do feel like it can often create this sort of space for someone to express things that they don't normally express. I do think that there's some truth to that. And if there is, it's like, that feels great as an artist, because I want to make great beats, but it's paramount to make the full thing an interesting song. And if I'm having a style that's inspiring that's just incredible.
I think the other thing that the lightness that we're talking about does is allows for a sort of intricate sound without distracting from the lyricism. I will admit, as I was preparing for this and going back to listening to some of the tracks that you've produced, I kept having to like be intentional about focusing on the sonics, like listening to the music, as opposed to like listening to Woods or whoever it was. So I think there's something also about like, despite how, varied you might try to make things or off-grid things seem to be at times, it never feels distracting, which I think is a great balance.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I think that Woods and Elucid in particular, AKAI SOLO too, a lot of people I work with, they all have something in common where they have almost like a Elvin Jones-esque appreciation for time, in that, they can adapt their flows and their sense of a pocket almost infinitely. Woods and Elucid in particular, and that allows so many there's so many incredible rhythmic possibilities that you can explore when you work with an artist like that, or just knowing that they exist will make me go there, because then I can think, this is possible, might as well make a beat that can only be inhabited by this level of a rapper, because maybe one will.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that allows something very special and intricate to happen without you realizing it, because it's almost like a magical sleight of hand, because you can, especially with just lyricists like them who really hold the song down completely and anchor it, you can focus on what they're saying and you will feel what's going on. You definitely feel something. You might not be like consciously aware of it.
Sure.
But yeah, it allows for a lot of wiggle room, a lot of abstraction in what's going on behind. And as long as, I'll just say that if I was just doing that by like having crazy drums, like, and layer and layer and layer, like I've been on the other side of that complexity for so long. I think that the way I produce now is a reaction to a lot of that. Like if you listen to like the child actor solo albums, like especially the one called The Perfect Cloud, the most recent album, still a long time ago in 2016, but that's like every single song has like 100 tracks or more, super micromanaged, layer by layer by layer, really truly intricate, and produced the hell out of everything. And I just got I really like that album a lot and I'm very proud of it, but I also got so disillusioned with that. Like, it's almost like, where does it end? And that's like hyper pop or something. It's like just constantly upgrading your technology level and like just continually trying to, blow people's minds with just the sheer complexity. And again, got to go back to jazz. Like, you can get so much out of just the timing of like one hit. Like there's so much beauty in like just an intentionality of just one or two sounds.
Yeah.
That can really characterize something. Like you can do so much with so little. And I'm just, yeah, at least still to this day, after making beats this way for I guess 3 years now, is like that's still so compelling to me. Like I just keep it's never gets old to me.
You mentioned Serengeti earlier. I want to ask you about Ajay 2. I missed out on the vinyl drop, so I haven't heard it yet. But I'm just wondering about what the process was like. We spoke with Kenny Siegel shortly after Ajay was released, the first one. And it was interesting to hear him talk about how that came together. And so I'm just curious about the process of working with Getty on this follow-up, on the sequel.
Oh, I'm curious about how that I got to listen to your episode. Can you encapsulate it in one sentence?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about one sentence, but yeah, Kenny said Getty reached out to him asking him for he made it seem like he was just looking for one song and just kept
Reeled
asking
him in, huh?
over a course of, I don't know how long it was, I don't remember, but just kept asking for, no, that's not it, send me something else. No, that's not it, something else. And then all of a sudden he sends him this like one long MP3 that was like the whole album that he had.
Whoa, that's pretty cool. Wow, that's amazing. I guess that makes sense the way that this ended up coming out. Yeah, I really, really hope it gets more widely released. For now, he wants it to be this really special vinyl thing. We might do another pressing. I'm pretty sure we will. I really hope it'll be on streaming, but it may never be on streaming. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that for him, I just we did that EP together, and then it was like I don't remember what the impetus was for this, but we just kind of talk every now and then, and we always be like, yeah, we should do another project together, like with real music, not whatever, random ad demos or whatever. And I always wanted to do that, and so I would send him some beats just like anyone else, because at the time I was only really working with Woods and Elucid and him, and I was making beats at a pretty good clip, and so I sent him stuff, and they'd kind of pile up, and then didn't send him anything for a while. It was kind of the same thing. He wasn't saying that's not it. It was just like, cool. I think he just hadn't been struck by inspiration or something. And then at a certain point, I just had so many excess beats from only working with two very selective artists. That's literally that's my whole network is just Woods and Elucid, and how many beats are they going to select if I'm making 3 a day? So I think I'm dumped 80 beats on Serengeti once, and then he's like, yeah, I think we got something here. And I think he just really liked the freedom of almost just I'm not going to say treat them like they're disposable, but yeah, I got so many beats, I could just do this one for 15 seconds if I want, and then this one for this. And so the character of this album, you can't really tell by the track listing, but I really lost count, but there are more than 40 beats on that album.
Wow.
And he personally stitched them together based on this very fragmented story that he's telling about the continued adventures of Ajay. Because Ajay, the main concept is, I don't want to give any spoilers away. He'd be very mad at me if I revealed any details. But Ajay is in a tough time of life, and is feeling disjointed. So he very much made the music feel that way, and a lot of things colliding into other things. The songs are just there's a lot of that on the Ajay 1, of course, but I feel like it's taken to a real extreme here. Wow. And since my production style is pretty different from Kenny's, it might be very disorienting for people. I don't know. I really like it and think it's really cool, but we definitely have talked to are people gonna think this is just insane, or are they gonna like it? I don't know. So I guess we'll find out. I think it should have shipped recently. I haven't received my copy yet, but
okay.
But people will start hearing it soon. I think we'll find out. Lucky 200 people.
Yeah, yeah. I look forward to hearing it someday.
Yeah, go to BitTorrent, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will rip it to YouTube at some point.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask you just real quick about the album Respawn that child actor you and Natalie and Televangel did together and released last year. Just a beautiful project. I read a bit about how it came together and some of the meaning that you all found in it. And I wonder if you could talk just briefly about the process of working on that album.
Yeah, sure. So that one is, well, first of all, it's always just really fun to work with Ian, Televangel. We've been working together since Blue Sky Black Death days, and it's always just really comfortable and like we're just good friends. So yeah, I would just say the main thing that is different about this album from the stuff we've done with Blue Sky Black Death is that we always kind of folded into the fabric of those Blue Sky Black Death songs, almost like repeating mantras, kind of like it almost could be part of the instrumental. Whereas for Respawn, I really thought it would be cool if we did something a little, not confrontational, but maybe even sometimes a little bit oppositional to the beats, something that would be unexpected and something that would be definitely a clear, like, lead line vocal part that is not just in the background in any way, because we've never really done that kind of just full detailed song approach with, at least with Ian. And so and I've never, other than doing hooks and stuff, never really written to something fully through as a song that I haven't produced myself. So it was definitely a challenge to do that and really think of the. Well, I will say the reason I was doing it a lot is because Natalie was in this horrible bike accident and broke her jaw and her wrist, and she was recovering. She's still sort of recovering from it in a lot of ways, and it changed the way that she sang. And at that particular time, she barely was able to sing at all, and like she couldn't even really stand to be recording for a certain amount of time without taking a break. So it just became pretty clear that I was going to have to do a lot more singing than usual, which was a bit intimidating because I hadn't done it for a while, and may never do it again, honestly. But I mean, the songs that she ended up singing are definitely the best. They're so beautiful. Like basically bookending the album, the first and the last one. And she just wrote them herself and came down here in the studio and just emerged with just gorgeous stuff. And and the rest of them I just wrote. I think what I was thinking a lot for that album is because that was also in the time when I think I was working pretty intensely with Woods and Lucid and hearing a lot of their music, and I think some of their cadences sort of rubbed off me in some ways. I'm certainly not barring out in any way, but letting the sounds of the words guide me a lot. And there's some rhyming going on in ways that I didn't normally explore.
I barely read the note. Already know how it goes. Skip to the part where I make everything fold into one word. Slip down a deep, deep hole. Hold me back, like the one word that gets stuck in your throat. Undergrowth, overgrown, underground, lake, cold water, don't make it cold, make it cold. Undertow, underground, gray stone, undertone, face down, take me home.
Yeah, I think it was a great chance to get Natalie back on her feet. She hadn't sung in a long time, and just to me, that's the beauty of that project. And the idea of Respawn actually was the name of that photograph. I went through like probably thousands of photographs before picking one, and that one just stood out. And it happened to be the title of the photograph. And then I just I asked the photographer, Robin Walsh, can we just call the album Respawn? Because it just fit. Not only did it fit the themes of the album, like the idea of like Respawn is so different from like rebirth. Like her recovery from the accident was not like, I'm a new person, I'm reborn again. It's like, right. Nope, well, I didn't die, I'm back again. It's like a judgment-free new existence. It's like not good, not bad, or maybe bad, I don't know, but I reappeared for better or worse. And it makes you read the photo very differently. Like when I first saw the photo, it almost seemed like falling to death. But if I see the title Respawn, like it seems like you're just appearing in midair. So yeah, that was a fun way to feel the album. Although I think we picked the photo after we had done it. But I think it represents everything nicely.
I just have one last question before we dive into Count Basie. So I saw that you were at the release show for I Told Bessie, and I'm very jealous. I wish I could have been there. But generally speaking, I wondered what it's like for you to see an artist perform a song you've helped to create, and also watch a crowd's reaction to it.
Oh, that's a great question. I really like it. I really have been going to a lot of shows lately just for that one purpose. I mean, okay, not for that one purpose. I love it's often like the only way I can meet people that I'm working with too.
Sure.
Well, not the only way, but it's just a great way. And also a lot of these shows have been such celebrations. Like, like I said, I've just been lucky to be around in like a really good time for, especially like anyone Backwoods affiliated. It just feels like something really special happening right now. And so yeah, a lot of release shows, any release show feels like a celebration, but it's kind of like also everyone is just, I feel like a certain sort of excitement and pride that like, everyone who's a fan there is just so happy to see after all the work they know that has been put in, like it's finally getting the attention it deserves. And so like, it's just such a great feeling. But as for like hearing a song, I really get, first of all, I just get like an egocentric thrill out of it. Like to see something I produce, like people rocking to it is like, this is like great, powerful feeling. And getting to hear it really loud is nice, but it's also like instructive, to see how someone is reacting to, especially if it's a bit, let's say non-traditional. Like for example, seeing Alchemist spin one of my beats at I think Central Park, like that was nuts. Like just and that one was Charms, and you see whenever they do Charms, like no one can agree where the heads are gonna nod. I love it. and I get the feeling that people are feeling it, of course, but it's like, what do you do? How
do I move to this?
Yeah, but even on like Old Magic or something, which I'm not going to say it's super straightforward, but you can keep the beat to it. I think people all have their own way of relating to the timing of it or the feeling of it. There's a real magic to everyone nodding their heads together, waving their hands at the same time, whatever, rocking together. But there's also a real beauty to like this total asymmetry of like everyone feeling something and but feeling it in a different way. I think that's so beautiful to me to see that like the same level, that high energy, but make it your own. It's like an additional level of interpretation that's going on
for sure
in your mind or something. And so seeing that live is like and you can see what's working and what's not working too. I'm not going to say anything's not working, but some things really work.
he has a show on Halloween weekend, the 29th, and so I plan to be there, and so I
might be there too. We may meet.
Oh shit! All right, let's do it.
29th. Are you in Philly for that? Or is it?
It's in New York.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna be on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because Fatboy Sharif is gonna be performing too. Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't know if you know, but we got a lot of stuff together, Sharif and I.
Did not know that.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm teasing it right now.
He's the best.
Yeah, it's all done, but he's got so many albums.
Yeah, he's always got something.
Yeah.
So, but 2029-ish. Get ready. Everyone will finally be ready for it.
All right.
I'm ready. I'm ready now. I'm ready.
Yeah. We're gonna drop a song that has nothing to do with that, but sometime before the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Beg, Borrow, Steal.
Great.
Sweetie, it's plenty to feed the greedy. Musicianship of Grady Tate on any recording day. Jamming up at Mittens, smoking a Savoy. Still ain't got no union card, still unemployed. How much my reads? Well, I only got one left for my gig with Teddy Hill. And if Ben ain't got an extra one, press will. The tequila stung my tongue, it's a beehive. My head spinning, it's a G-drive. I'm Charles Dutton cause I rock live. Leave the stage, enough hand jive. God bless John Burks Gillespie. Who could the best be? Did the show, what's my fee?
Every episode, we ask our guests to choose an album that they might consider a personal classic or especially influential in their artistry or their life. Tonight, we're talking about Count Bass D, and we're talking about Beg, Borrow, Steal. Max, the first question for you is why? Why are we talking about this project?
Good question. This one would definitely go in the personal classic category. I have to be honest, I don't really ever hear anyone talk about this album, and it's debatable if it even is an album. I believe he calls it an EP.
Yeah.
And at the time, a half-hour EP seemed, yes, this is an EP. You know, I'm paying my money for a CD. I need at least 40 minutes. At least give me 37 minutes. But often far more. It just feels very significant to me, and it is very significant to me. And I just want to hear more people talk about Count Bass D. I don't feel like I hear enough, but I do feel he's having a little bit. People are talking about him a little more lately. But like I've said, I was just so at the time that this came out, I was so into just Dilla, Madlib, and Doom. It's like that was my religion. That's all I really wanted to hear. And Count Bass D, he was in there with those three. It was like, and so for me, it was like, the same breath. I listened to this album like comparably intensely to, Mad Villainy or Operation Doomsday or whatever. And it just has just a lot of formative power to me because it's right around when it's one of the things that helped inspire me to want to make beats in the first place. So yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I listened to it a ton for years and then got away from it, but listened to it again recently. I was like, oh no, did I pick an album that is not aged well? But I heard it and it still is so good to me. I just love it.
It's very good.
And actually it's like, man, some of this could come out now and be relevant.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I also think it's an album that neither E and I were very familiar with. I've never heard it before you picked it.
Great.
And I think it might be the same case for E. So we always like that when someone chooses something that we haven't heard before. What would you say your earliest memories are of hearing this project, hearing this album?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I almost hate to say it, but I'm synesthetic, and when I hear music, like I can see textures. So like there's like a certain keyboard sound that he has. It's like a signature sound. It's almost one of the first things you hear on the album. And it just pops in a lot of different albums of his. Sort of like an organy keyboard sound that just creates an image in my head. It's like indescribable, but yeah, I can tell when something is really cool and meaningful and saying something to me when I can like see a texture from it. I know that sounds so annoying, but
sounds kind of amazing to me.
But like it's really true. It's like it's got this kind of visual signature to it, and also I would say it really is early in the sense that I was not able to analyze this music well. I was using this as like a thing to learn from, and I was actively, as I was listening to it, dozens and dozens, so many times I listened to this thing, actively trying to figure out what is happening. Like I really didn't know at all what was happening. I just knew this was like just like a sugar rush. Is like so purely pleasurable. There's like so much pleasure on this album, and now I listen to it and I can kind of analyze it, and I can tell, and that's fun too, that I can now see like, oh, okay, this is like a really heavily sample based one. Oh, this is one where he's actually seems to be playing all the instruments. Oh, and this is one where he's combining. Usually he likes to combine, and I think that's one of his greatest strengths. A lot of people try to mix samples with other instruments and keyboards and stuff, and usually that approach, you lose the rawness and it feels a little too fussed over. But he has a way of using his deep musical chops. Like he can really play a lot of, I think, yeah, he actually plays drums, real drums. I don't know if he plays I don't think he plays any real drums on this, but he can. And he's a really great pianist too. And he's a great singer, a great rapper. He does it all. And he puts those together in a way that is so loose, and particularly on this one. Like I almost wanted to choose Dwight Spitz because that probably is more of an actual classic in the Count Bass D discography. But this one speaks to me more, and he just has this level of confidence where he just seems so in control and but also so free and also so inspired. It just seems like like he's really coming into his own with the MPC and really a lot more comfortable with rapping than I think he was on Dwight Spitz.
It's funny that you mentioned this being a visual album for you, because I went there too, not in the same way, but when I first heard this, I loved it. I listened to it over and over again. And when I first heard this, which was a couple of weeks ago when you picked it,
awesome.
It felt like I was listening to a live performance. And I sort of envisioned being at like a house party and watching a DJ spin while the MC spits, or even watching a live band perform in front of me. It just felt really exciting and unpredictable in that way.
Yeah.
And I wondered what your first impressions were of it, and if that sort of fell into that.
Again, it's like it was such a new sound to me.
Yeah.
Like I had been a hip hop fan for a while, but mostly like Project Blowed, Good Life, like that, just because those were the connections I had, like through Chesky.
Sure.
And really different style. So hearing what he's doing with the production here, and it has a lot in common with Mad Villainy, like the short songs, like just boom, 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 like squeezing as much enjoyment out of it as you can, and then like, all right, on to the next thing. Like some of my favorite tracks on here are like literally 30 seconds. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, I can't say a specific first impression other than just like, this feels so good. It like just feels good.
Yeah.
I thought a lot about Doom while I was listening to this. Mostly because of the production style, like the sampling that takes place. I just thought like this is such a great compliment to Doom and Doom's style. Doom style often felt like he's just throwing as many samples as you as he can, which has a certain kind of thrill and excitement to it, and has a great like replay value. This there's a lot of sampling happening, but it felt more drawn up, just enough space in between them to like let you get a feel for them before he moves on, which I really liked.
I actually, I mean, of course, it's a very apt comparison. I mean, you know, I don't know if like Count Basie produced Potholders on Food,
right,
and appears on it famously, and also Doom is on Dwight Spitz. Really great performance on there. I don't know in detail how much of a bond they had, but they seem to be pretty close, at least in that time. And they're a great fit, but it's also a great comparison point, because Doom is one of the, at least from my perspective, one of the most off, and everything I've heard too of people who knew him, it's like one of the most off the cuff kind of producers in the sense of like, he seems to just really get that raw inspiration, make the beat, and just like not fuss over it too much, just like almost to the point of not wanting to finish it. Just do it that way. That's it. That's the energy. And in doing so, he can just tap into something so magical. I think that is what gives it that replay value. It's like this, like you are stumbling into this, you're hearing this in the moment of its inspiration, that inspiration is left fully intact. And that's what makes me so impressed about Count Basie, because he's the opposite. He's so precise. You can hear, if you analyze, you can hear how calculated every little detail is. But he also is able to leave the right amount of looseness and have that inspiration stay in there. So that's what I still find to be thrilling about this is that it can be so precise and but still have that rawness and that feeling to it. It's really special.
I feel like
actually,
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And actually, I can't really think of any other producers that are able to specifically have keyboards in there that they're playing blend with the samples. It's done so much, but he really leaves you guessing at what is a sample and what's not.
Yeah. I was going to ask about, being a multi-instrumentalist while also being a producer. I mean, it's clear that having the playing skills that Basie had was a great strength in his beat making and production. I'm wondering if you feel the same way. I mean, how does being a multi-instrumentalist impact the way that you approach beat making? Well,
I don't even know if I would characterize myself that way. I do play piano, but I'm pretty bad at guitar. I can play the drums okay. I don't say that I wouldn't. It's not fair to call myself a multi-instrumentalist. Right. But I will say I'm an instrumentalist. And the human voice can be an instrument too.
Sure, yeah.
But I will say I relate to him in that. I don't know. I can't speak for how he does it. I will say that in my case, it's just a factor I have to deal with directly. And sometimes I think the way that I make beats is really so deeply based on myself as an instrumentalist, and both in my comfort with it and my frustration with it at the same time. So like I will say that like I don't lay out beats. I used to make beats on the exact MPC that he's holding in E's Zoom background right now. It brings back memories. That was what I made all the first beats on. But I don't do them on drum pads anymore. I put them on a MIDI keyboard because I play the piano. Like it looks and feels cool to play them on drum pads, but I'm so much better at remembering which sample is where. I'm not going to be like, oh, this is on the second grid, second from the right. It's like, oh, I know where like F sharp is in the third octave. Like, I mean, so, and also I know how to play the piano. My fingers are just like so attuned to the keys, so I can play them in a subtle way if I need to. But also, so like that takes advantage of myself being an instrumentalist, but also working with samples and just putting them on whatever keys arbitrarily that I want to goes against my habits. Because if I'm playing actual notes, I have routines and I know about chord shapes and stuff to the point where it's hard to surprise myself if I'm just playing notes because I've done it so much. But if there's just a random sample popping up there, I'm not going to make my decisions based on music theory necessarily, other than intuitive ones, but not based on where my fingers are or whatever. It's based on just, I'm getting this sound when I hit this key. It becomes more of an animal instinct. And I would guess from hearing his music, doesn't have all those same hangups. But I will say, just because it's relevant, that I got to make a song with him once.
Oh wow!
That never was released, but I had sold a bunch of beats to a bunch of pretty bad rappers that had a lot of money that I'm pretty sure they gained quite illicitly, and I had some cash on hand from making beats, and I was like, who do I want to work with? And he was at the top of the list for me. And so I got a verse from him, but to his credit, he's not a transactional person. He was like, we have to have a conversation first to be on the same page, and just like, I don't want to collaborate with someone I don't know. And so we had a really good conversation where he talked a lot about, I still remember, like, he was talking about playing drums and how he was concerned about, since he stopped playing drums for a while and was only doing drums on the MPC, there's like a slight delay sometimes when you're hitting those drum pads. It's not the same reaction, as you're physically hitting a drum. And I remember him talking about how he had some gig or something he was doing where he was going to play real drums, and that he was nervous about if he was going to be able if his timing would be all messed up from using the MPC. But actually, he found that it strengthened it. And but yeah, I mean, he you can just tell when you listen to his music that it's deeply related to his skill and his love for playing instruments.
It feels like, to me, he maintains a really good balance between all the things that he's juggling as, a talented musician and MC. You're sort of in a similar position. Like, you have multiple talents and you're using multiple instruments, including your voice, when you are producing something. Do you feel like you have to maintain a balance, or do you just sort of do whatever you feel?
I will say that the word balance does not come up in my mind whenever I'm making music.
Sure.
It's almost like something I want to avoid, in a sense. Like, I want to tilt something so much to its breaking point. That's what I want to do right now. So yeah, I will say for sure, Count Basie's music is more orderly and balanced, though not necessarily, not in a predictable way.
Right.
But I will say that, yeah, I think that another thing that question makes me think of is that, since I'm able to do a lot of different styles pretty comfortably at this point, I have wrestled with that, because I really, you can listen to some things from different years that I've done and be like, this must be a different child actor. Like, and I'm not saying that with pride. It just literally will sound like, how could this possibly be the same producer? It's just a really fundamentally different style. And I'm almost actually embarrassed of that, because all my favorite artists, you can tell, so in any album of Count Basie's career, you can tell, within a few seconds, there's that signature feeling. And I crave that signature feeling from an artist. So I've kind of felt uneasy about that. But I do feel like maybe making beats has been the thing where I have the most of a signature sound now. And I'm liking that. So
also, like Doom, I appreciate Count Basie's sense of humor.
Yeah. It's always fun. It's so fun.
Yeah. I can't remember which track it is on this project where at some point he was just like, that was the intro and this is the outro.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. He really is. Yeah. I mean, gonna smile listening to this. Like, he's having fun. He's a lot like Doom, where he will pick great little snippets that he actually weaves them together. That maybe is one thing that they share the most, actually. They both are so adept at weaving together those snippets and creating a conversation within them. That also often has a comedic effect.
Totally. Yeah, I'm also thinking about the track New Edition Karaoke.
Oh yeah.
I do want you. I do need you. Put on your red dress, down my heels, some of that sweet perfume, sure smells good. Do what I gotta do and break her heart. I wanna rock with you, baby, all night long. Yeah.
That one stood out to me as well. Looking at the track title, like reading the track title, and then trying to pay attention to what's going on in the background. Just there was a lot there. I felt like.
Yeah, that song is just in my head now. I love that one, and that one I love because the sample has so much energy in it.
Yeah.
But he is able to elevate that energy with his vocal performance. I mean, the weird thing about his career is that he seems to have started kind of thinking that he was just going to be like a quirky R&B singer. And like Art for Sale, he's mostly singing on that album. He barely raps. He raps on a couple songs, but he's singing almost all of them. And so it's really fun to hear him. It's like, I just want to rock with you, baby. Like he adds his own thing to this already epic sounding sample, and he just takes it to that next level. It's a really joyful one. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I want to thank you for getting us to listen to Count Bass D and Beg, Borrow, Steal. I think we both really enjoyed this. So
definitely.
Thanks.
I feel like I've done my good deed. I hope more people listen to this and get turned on to it, because it's very special to me, and it should be special to more people.
This pick just reminded me that there's so many albums we have not talked about on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I didn't want to like come in here and be like, picking some stone cold classic that everyone talks about.
Sure.
I want to reflect my own fringe outsider status.
yeah, exactly. That's what we want.
Yep.
Well, Max, thanks again for sitting down with us and spending so much time with us.
Pleasure. Thank you guys. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want people to know before we let you go? Any place you want people to follow you? Anything like that?
Yeah, I guess Twitter and Instagram is @childactor, but without the I and without the O. Figure that out. I think I guess I want to give a little more attention to I think one little thing I produced that I don't think as many people heard was with Amani and Robaloo. It's a song called Star Child.
Yes.
That whole album is really, really good.
It's very good.
So yeah, listen to that.
I was going to ask you about that, but I found the credit on Wikipedia, and I don't trust Wikipedia all the time. So I was like, and I couldn't find it anywhere else, and I couldn't find it on their Bandcamp. So I was like,
It's really me.
Yeah, that album is amazing. I love it.
He told me that they they rapped on that song the day they released it, and so that was a pleasant surprise.
Wow. Damn. Okay.
And luckily they did a good enough job that I was overjoyed instead of I don't know. That could make you apprehensive,
Yeah.
But and also they made it super long. Luckily, Amani is a great producer in his own right, a really inspiring producer.
Oh yeah.
And so it was well earned for what they did on it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, highlighting that. I do think that's sort of sailed under the radar.
It's so good. It's just there's too many albums. There's just so many.
Yeah.
I think they even dropped it on a day when like maybe like some Alchemist thing or some huge thing came out. So what are you gonna do?
Hard to
what are
avoid
you
that
gonna do
these days. Yeah.
All
right. Well, thanks once again.
Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
This has been The Next Movement. Peace.
I bore witness to all subdivisions of fraud. Can't get lost in the source if you ain't got none stored. The forgotten sword drawn from the art of war. Scorn since my conscious form, Lord to the eye of the storm. Peep the bias worn and sticky like corn syrup. It ain't just the physical that forms spirit. Gratitude is attitude is auspicious. The cord tinted, I grip my soul in case of floor slippage. The crowd tight wild, but the allure made them all timid. Niggas wanna blow like some store fillers. The way I move signature ain't no forging it. When I lit off, niggas sprawl with it. The dip I fall with it. Swimming with the sharks, dropping jaws with it. Is there a problem? Then we solving it. Effects of cause and shit. Keep it blunt, but smoke a raw with it. Stay appalled with it. Never needed no applause with it. I peep the screening of the false image. Fuck what it costs, let's get lost in it.
If the sun don't shine, then the moon won't reflect. And if I'm a star child, then I gotta be accepted.